Pneumatically operated paddle shift gearbox, 150 horsepower from a GSX 1000cc bike motor. They're really cool to watch, and you're about to see them racing at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. The GRIDLIFE Rush Series National Championship comes to a close this weekend. Race 1 of 4 is about to get underway. Green flag, and we're racing at Laguna Seca.
Oh, here we go. Tight pack. We're already getting a couple of drivers shuffling around. Look at the bump drafting we've got going on. Looks around 4th and 5th place as they start to dive into that hairpin. This is where it could all go wrong really quick, Kyle, as they're all jamming through that very tight sector.
Oh, 4 wide into turn 1. How do you do that? There's Bryce Mersberger getting really squeezed, and he vocal in the middle of a 3 wide scenario. Side by side, Blair Hosey up to 4th place past Mersberger, and Leach still chasing the number 70 of James French as we head under the bridge towards turn 4.
Yeah, and they get through what seems to be fairly tidy through that section. We saw the oil dry up, and now we get into a single file where that draft is going to start to come into play as the drivers kind of get into queue, coming into one of the hardest sections of this track, coming into 5. And then once they get through 6, we're going to see if any of that drama is continuing on, as a few drivers electing to go pretty wide through that section.
And we'll see some slipstreaming as well. Look at Vocal on the inside of another competitor here into turn 6. You can't race through it side by side. You have to race to it. Through the turn 6 for the first time and climbing towards that 4-story drop at the corkscrew.
Now this is where we're going to see a little bit of left braking. A few drivers deciding to go pretty wide, and we'll see if we find anybody brave enough to make a dive into that iconic corner and drop down 4 stories side by side. And a few drivers elect to go. We get an overtake.
Man, just running down the hill, use the momentum and the gravity assist down the hill. Blair Hosey once again having a look at Nico Bratz. That's that red number 7 car. Nate Hamilton in the bright yellow machine, running his teammate TJ Hunt down. The field streams through Rainy Curve for the first time, and they're about to complete a lap as they head to turn 11 to finish out their first revolution of the Laguna Seca. Nico Bratz is slow at leaving the final corner. He's middle of the racetrack, and he did not get going. Is there an issue with that number 7?
Oh, I don't know. It could be as small as even just a missed shift and not able to get things back in. A few drivers having to work through some shifting issues as these cars now completely beat up from an entire season of doing this, as now French and Leach start to pull a bit of a pace on the rest of this pack. And yeah, we're starting to see everybody else come into queue here. A lot of changes in the back of the field.
Ryan Leach just expertly using all the racetrack there, but 7/10 behind James French, who's been one of the only other drivers to dethrone him this year. Blair Hosey was one of the others, but 0.6 of a second between their best laps. See them running through the dust there up to turn 5. It might just be a one-on-one battle between these two in this first race.
Yeah, we've seen it before, though. I mean, front of the pack battles, and you never know what can happen mechanically. And
look at DeGiacomo here. This is side by, or actually, is it DeGiacomo? He might have changed cars for this event, but there's a gray and teal car that was side by side up to turn 6. And like I said, Jacob, you can't really go through there door to door like that.
I tried for it, that's for sure. Went for a dive on the inside, cutting that corner just a touch, and it looks like he might have gotten the job done. Is now the front of the pack heading into the corkscrew. Will anybody else be brave enough for a dive? We've seen a few drivers go for it. Oh, cutting it real tight there.
That was Bryce Mersberger again. He's a young guy, so his spine can take that, but that was a hard hit down there. Just dropping onto the pavement. You're basically driving off a cliff, and when it lands, it's a pretty rough ride down there.
Yeah, but I think a few drivers are willing to put up with that a bit earlier on in the race, and we see some drivers, looks like dropping wheels, getting a bit of dust, and this exit through 11 could be absolutely everything for a few of these drivers. Staying off those rumble strips if you can there. You're not picking up any traction going over those bumps.
Yeah, whatever was causing an issue for the 7 of Nico Bratz has fixed itself. He's gained a spot back. He's 8th right behind Cole Gamma. See Gamma in that bright yellow car, and just ahead of him, Ellis Spezia on Bryce Mersberger. That's a pass for, or attempted a pass for Spezia. They leave turn number 2 there and into turn 3, the right-hander.
Yeah, getting a bit more of a pack racing mentality going on, and this is where you're trying to use that draft just to close up the gap and then hopefully go for either a late break or just a bit of a lunge at the last moment to try and gain up that position over your competitor. Pretty tough to do in these cars. That's the hard part with spec racing, so it becomes a situation where it's just a boldness.
Gosh, that was a big moment for James French. Big wiggle out to the edge of the racetrack. No track limits being enforced here, so race control's not going to look at that, but he almost didn't need him. He almost needed a wrecker there. Now that's Spezia, by the way, in the teal and gray car. Didn't get a good look earlier at what livery he's got. Has experience off-road racing, but again, on the pavement today and chasing down Mersberger, the winner from Audubon Country Club a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, as of right now, Leach holding about a half second behind our leader of French. He's going to have to hope that French has a couple more mistakes that we saw just a few moments ago to be able to pick up that spot, as now we get a few more battles in the 88 and 144? I don't think so. But yeah, this is it's getting crazy. Jalen Bately having to fend off another competitor through that section as now they come through 11. we're seeing that gap in the lead.
Gamma almost lost the car leaving 11, kicked the rear end out, and now he's under fire from Nico Bratz. That's that red car in trail. And then here's Spezia lining up. Bryce Mersberger put the crosshairs on the back of that 114.
This is getting tight up front, and we get a little bit of a gap in a few sections of this track, but mid-pack, this is wild. We see a lot of personal bests coming through as drivers getting a little bit more comfortable finding that draft, finding the line. And I think as this track is warmed up just a touch, it's getting these tires a little bit more tacky, and it's really coming to grips in full terms for a lot of these rush drivers.
Yeah, this battle between Mersberger and Spezia is really good. We saw Bratz get by Cole Gamma at turn 2, and there's a look last time around. Spezia 75 thousandths quicker than Mersberger up the inside at turn 5, opens the door, and he's underneath. And here comes Bratz making the line both of them up with that reduced momentum as they run door to door.
Yeah, he's gonna have to get that pass done. Doesn't able to do it. It has to fall back in line. Will he go for another dive? Don't think it's gonna happen into 6, so hopefully gets a bit better, but take going wide.
Bratz out in the dirt, keeps his foot in it though, loses a spot to Cole Gamma, but that's just a little bit, there's something been flying off that car there. That's just the amount of limit you got to put in it. Down the hill here at the corkscrew.
Yeah, I saw a few bits and pieces coming off that car, so we'll see if that affects any of the aero on it. Ooh, what a dive coming through the Rainy.
And Spezia takes it, Mersberger crosses over. What a battle between these two.
That was a bold move to be able to pull off a pass there and then stay in it all the way through, but able to now stretch out just a little bit. We're gonna maybe see a dive.
Oh, trouble. Gamma. Top of the hill there. And didn't quite get a look at the numbers at the number 10, I think. That had an off there.
Yeah, and it looks like already heading for pit lane. A lot of body work missing, as you indicated, I think for the number 10 car. See if we get a replay of it coming through. Oh, wow.
Got clipped there by the 335 of Kyle Melnick. And that was unfortunate. Again, just had the car sort of crossed up, and when it lands, it gains a bunch of grip, and he just had too much steering, and you see Melnick pulling off course now with the bodywork missing off the nose. Unfortunate.
Yeah, that is going to be his race. Hopefully able to get some parts back on that car as we get back to our racing action. Our drone getting real deep and personal for a lot of these shots, just to kind of show you that racing action.
And look, here comes Mersberger again up the inside of Spezia. They're stealing the show, aren't they? But keep an eye on Bratz. He got by Cole Gamma again, and the more these two run door to door like this, I keep saying door, these cars don't have doors, you climb in from the top, but you get what I mean.
Wing to wing.
Yeah, here's Gamma again having a look at the 7.
Well, as they're fighting up a little bit further on, it allows Gamma to kind of start to sneak in, and it just allows him to kind of get in behind Mersberger without having to worry about him checking his mirrors, because he's trying to make that pass once again on Spezia.
See the debris flag there at the corkscrew. That just signifies that there might be some debris on course. See it just offline there, so we'll be able to continue about halfway through this race. And Spezia a little wide there, almost caught the curb on the inside of Rainey. And this is a battle for 5th, but they're fighting as hard for this as they would be for the lead. Look at Hosey now with the purple wipe. He's run the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, the Spezia-Mersberger battle is, it's definitely getting all the eyes on the action right now as our leaders, French and Leach, not really exchanging too much, although that gap in their last lap was pretty tight coming through the line. And we'll see if that separates just a little bit, down 4/10.
Yeah.
So Leach able to pull a bit more of a gap.
And purple on that too, which means Leach just took the fastest lap of the race.
Wow, yeah, Leach is definitely pushing French on this one, and we'll see if he's able to keep that pace up for that next lap. And maybe French has a bit of an issue, and Leach is able to jump on it.
Yeah, see, 2/10 quicker for Leach, a 1:33.943 to a 1:34.152. So cooking pretty good here. Here's a battle a little deeper in the field. This is heading up towards turn 5. Actually, this is for the lead. Here comes Leach on French, and he's through just like that. Made very quick work of that.
Yeah, made that look really easy. Now I'm questioning what all is going on with French, because he had such a demanding lead for so much of this race. I don't know if Leach was just holding back and going for Valentino Rossi, stay in his mirrors for most of the race and make the pass.
He must have made a mistake, French, because he was, again, 4/10 of a second. That's half a second. Going into turn 2, he must have just had a wiggle. Ooh, Leach really sideways heading down the corkscrew, but now he's going to lock in. We've seen him just be so clinical behind the wheel of this Rush SR all year long. Has some open wheel experience, but has just dialed this car in and is just very in tune with the way it drives at the limit.
Yeah, and now it comes down to what's French able to do. How is he able to battle through the rest of this, and can he make up just a little bit? So we'll have to see how this plays out now, and if there's any more mistakes from these drivers. And as we talked about with that spec racing, just a small mistake, a couple of tenths here or there, or not getting the exit, or mistiming a bit of a shift, that could be it for a lead, as now we're getting a bit more of a stretch.
Down into turn 2. French is not giving it up. 2 car lengths between them. Double apex left-hander, using all the racetrack. The curbing here, the candy stripes are not very aggressive, so you can get all over them with these Rush SRs, though they don't seem to mind, even at places like Road America with gnarly curbs. They're fairly softly set up relative to you know, what you'd expect for a small sports racer like this, so they can handle some of the curbs. Anything painted yellow here, though, do not touch.
Yeah, you can see just when they get into the braking zone, you see the front end dive. Now, there's only a couple inches of movement, but it's pretty apparent when they come through some of these hard braking sections, and Leach doing a great job of pulling a bit more of a gap on French, who is trying to battle back. You can see him attempting to close up this gap, but for right now, Leach has kind of got his number and really stretching it out.
Yeah, this will be, if he could hang on for another few minutes, 25 points added to his season total here. And French, again, charging on the brakes, trying to keep that gap as small as he can.
Yeah, doing a good job through the corkscrew, but Leach is very, very tidy through that section. French is going to have to hope that something gets a little bit wild as French cutting the corner just a bit, trying to make up, I mean, not even tenths at this point, just going after the hundreds anywhere that he can. And anytime you see French kind of go in on a little bit deeper through those corners, you know he's seeing Leach out front, not going and being as aggressive. Ooh. So, yeah, a little bit of a push out that way, but good dig out of turn 11.
Watch Blair Hosey there, the third car in line. Well, these two battle. He was 2 seconds back last time around. What's it going to be this time? 2.4, so I think he's sort of holding station right now, but if those front two continue to battle, oh, lock up there for Leach, and that will leave the door open for French to close in. No anti-lock brakes or traction control on these cars. They're old-fashioned in that sense.
Well, and Hosey made his way all the way up from 6, so he knows how to battle through traffic. He's done a great job. That start for him was incredible. So now he's just going to have to play a little bit more of that long game, and if Leach keeps making these mistakes like this, that might give both French and Hosey an opportunity to go up, as we saw Mertzberger also make a jump up into 4th on that last lap, and that pushes Bailey down into 5th.
Really, these two have been in their own zip code this race, haven't they? Hosey's trying to move over to the next town, but
he's getting there, though. Look at that. That gap is closing up pretty quick. They're within the same camera angle, and that's a great indicator of how much pace that Hosey's able to pick up.
And Mertzberger has stopped the bleeding on the battle to Spezia. Jalen Batley has slipped to 5th, with Mertzberger up to 4th, and you see Mertzberger that time through just 25 thousandths off of Blair Hosey in 3rd place, so the lap times are incredibly close up here.
Yeah, this is getting pretty tense. So for Leach now, it's just keep your head in the game, not make any more mistakes, as Hosey pull him back just a little bit. Not as good through that crazy technical section. I think he's just able to carry a bit more momentum and brake a little bit later through some of these higher speed corners, and that's where he's been picking up that time. When we get to the technical section on the corkscrew, that gap starts to open up just a little bit more. If he can get that dialed, though, he may have an opportunity to take over 2nd.
Well, he didn't get a white flag that time through, so at least 2 laps to go. Bigger battles deeper in the field. There's Nate Hamilton on his charge up. Robinson, Schneider, Whistle, and Hunt up the road. And you know there's a little friendly battle in the teammates there between Hamilton and Hunt. Big lunge up the inside. Whoa. Contact. And around, is that Robinson that went around at the turn 11 apex, and he's stuck middle of the racetrack. Everybody scatters.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, a bit of a shuffle now, and we'll get those timings coming in as they come through our finish line there. But looks like everybody's all right. Just a bit of a spin off. We reset that order. We're seeing a little bit of blue smoke coming out of another car. The attrition of the season is now starting to come into play.
Yeah, also, I wonder if that was one of the cars that made contact. Could it just be some tire smoke from a body panel rub, too? It's possible, I think. But is that Alex Chang that's in the middle of that as well? Yes, it is. And he did not qualify like what we expected. He's been really solid in the past here, but only 15th place across the stripe this time. And he's working his way up the order now, trying to run down some more cars before the end of this thing.
Yeah, a bit of a drop back, qualifying a little bit higher up in 13th, so not the race start he would have looked for. As we take a look at a few other competitors coming around the line, that was, Alex Chang. Yeah, he's able to fight that off.
Heading up the hill here. I think that's TJ Hunt at the back of the shot, the 28. Climbing up the hill, if it's the Sunoco car, the Team Rapscallion 28.
I think so. Electing to take a bit of a tighter line. It looks like he's able to pick up a bit of pace through that section as now we flip back into turn 11.
A little bit of lap traffic that the leaders have to contend with, and here comes James French to the inside, to the outside, battle for the lead as they come up under the flag stand and across the stripe this time. This is the battle for the top spot here, Jacob.
This is interesting. French is he's getting a little bit desperate in some of his overtake opportunities here, but this is what you need to do as we come down to what is potentially some of the last laps of this race. Leach doing a great job of checking his mirrors and keeping, Leach is keeping French at bay through this section, but how long can you keep doing that? As you keep focusing on what's going on behind you, you start to lose opportunities of what's in front of you. You're checking the mirrors and you're not checking the apex.
And this will be the last lap of the race.
Ooh.
And there's a bunch of body work on the backstretch, and they're going to go through the yellow flag period. You can't pass in a yellow zone, but they're past it now, and French has half a lap to get by Ryan Leach.
He is absolutely hunting down Ryan Leach right now, and French might be able to get this done. He's got a couple of opportunities coming up through this last section as they fly through 6 and up the hill. As long as French can get a good dig, and he does, he's able to keep all the traction coming through there. Is he going to try and get this draft and a pass done coming over? Going a bit wide as they come into the corkscrew. Now he takes the outside line as he dives back in. This is an interesting tactic here we're getting from French.
Oh, slipped, slide.
If he could have held on to that, that was it.
Just needed to grip it up a little bit more through Randy Curve for the final time. And save for any mistakes. Ryan Leach looking forward to a 15th race win on the season, hoping to slam dunk a championship that he has dominated from the start. As we come out of the final corner here, Ryan Leach running from James French and comes across the start-finish line. And this should be our checker. There it is, checkered flag. Ryan Leach wins race 1 of the GRIDLIFE Rush Series over James French and Blair Hawsey in the number 8 Rush SR.
Yeah, and as everybody else starts to come through the line, we'll get everybody else locked in. Mersberger taking 4th, Bailey taking in 5th, a few seconds behind our leaders. And then there it is, Bratz, Gama, Beaupre, Volkel, and Kyla.
Oh, spin, last corner. Another car has gone around right up ahead of Hamler's. 2 cars spun out over there as TJ Hunt comes across the line. And a few others racing all the way to the checkers, but again, a little bit of contact here and there.
That got hairy pretty quick.
Yeah, that bodywork belongs to, I wonder if that's Robinson's bodywork, the orange there.
Yeah, might be. Might be in kind of a weird spot to shed off that much work. You usually expect to see it in an off scenario.
Well, let's have a look here at race results for the GRIDLIFE Rush Series. And it's Ryan Leach on top, where he has been most of the year. 15th win of the season in his 10-lap race. Defeats James French. That was an epic battle to the checkers. But look at Bryce Mersberger, Jalen Batley, just as they were at Chicagoland, 4th and 5th, nose to tail.
Yeah, this is a great battle. And then Nico Bratz taking home 6, Cole Gama, Sebastian Beaupre, Andy Volkel, and Omar Kyle, thank you, wrapping up our top 10.
Michael Schneider in 11th, Ellis Spezia dropped to 12th, TJ Hunt up to 13th place, and Alex Chang, Ryerson, Whistle. Nate Hamilton, Gay Shoes, Hassan Ahmed, Sam Kim, and Matt Wilson, the rest of the top 20 here, Jacob, and looking down the rest of the order.
Yeah, and then Villa Sonata, Ethan Hardesty, Brett Diagacoma, Samuel Reed, Benjamin Quain, Larry Brady, Michael Neff, Josh Longman, Jeff Hardesty, and Tom Karasting taking out the rest of the section. Then wrapping things up, Ryan Kircher, Jake Sanders, J.D. Cruel, Ryan Nair, Lee Bauer, John Robinson, Brady Vincent, and John Babbitt. And then 39th is Kyle Melnick. And I think these are some of the drivers that ended up having a bit of a rough end of that race, a couple of those spinouts.
Yeah, I think that John and Kyle were the ones that were involved in that incident at the top of the corkscrew, unfortunately. So a little bit of bodywork damage for Kyle Melnick in that 335 that we saw, but he did a nice job getting off the racetrack after that incident at the corkscrew. Not of his own doing, just sort of drove into a car that was sideways at the top of the crest.
Yeah, not much he could have done there.
No, but what a battle. That was so much fun to watch, and this electric GRIDLIFE Rush Series Championship all year long has just been thrilling to watch, and hoping to, in a moment, hear from Ryan Leach. But boy, it has been fun to watch these battles. We have 3 more of those races coming this weekend. Can you believe it?
I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. I mean, let's cool them off, throw them right back out there. It was great racing, and yeah, I can't talk enough about how incredible this spec series is.
Well, cars are headed off the racetrack here in just a moment, and gonna take a look at their notes and go again. They have another race later today. It's the last thing that we'll stream. And let's go down to Jonathan Grace, who's with our winner.
Get out.
Ryan Leach, your winner in race 1, right as you hop out of the car. You were methodical about it. You're the fastest man on track. You made the pass. Talk me through it.
Yeah, I was just waiting for the right moment, seeing where I was better than him, and we made it work. They were playing dirty at the end. They lined up their team cars to try to block us, but we made it happen, baby.
Still came away with a victory. A great way to start off the weekend. A couple races left. Thanks, Ryan. Congrats.
Thanks, Jonathan and Ryan. Nice work there. And we'll have a look at the highlights here from GRIDLIFE Rush Series race number 1. It was a fun one. The start going down into turn 1, Jacob. Gosh, it's going to be so exciting to watch 4 and 5 wide. Here's a look at the start again.
Yeah, this was, I mean, it was chaos, but everybody did quite a great job of keeping the contact at bay, and it got wild, and we started seeing what we thought was going to be how this race ended up, but did not go that way by any means for a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, James French led the first couple of laps. Blair Hosey was trying to catch them from 3rd place on back. Then it was Ellis Spezia chasing Bryce Mersberger. That battle went on for quite some time there. Jalen Batley and Mersberger, there's that fight that they're re-engaging after Chicagoland Speedway. This crash at the top of the hill. There's the 335 of Kyle Melnick. Unfortunate incident there. There's the Spezia and Mersberger battle that we saw that was so electric to watch.
Yeah, and it kind of went back and forth for so much of that race, and you start to forget about the leaders, but this is where the leaders were.
And Ryan Leach was the leader at the end of it. Ryan Leach was able to hold off James French at the tail end of this one and was able to take home the victory in the GRIDLIFE Rush Series race number 1 despite a lot of effort from James French in the number 70. Despite that last lap charge, just a little bit of a slip and slide, Ryan Leach adds to his victory total, 15 on the season with 3 more races left on the weekend. GRIDLIFE Rush Series race 1 complete.